I'm not super worried on the day-to-day basis of the board filling up. Like, I've been around for 75 years. The board fills up because people call. I wanted that stability more than I cared about maybe the top line revenue number.
How did you actually source your first deal?
I paid $2 million for the business, but $700,000 of it is in real estate. So I paid effectively $1.3 million for the business. That was pushing $400K EBITDA to the bottom line.
Do you feel that you bought big enough?
Even if I don't do something big, I can do something well. You know, like I can do something that'll take care of my family. I just got exhausted by the world of 500% growth not being good enough.
Welcome back to Jackquisitions. We have a special episode today. We are up in Akron, Ohio with Matt, who had just bought a business. We're over here for the Breaking 5 Million conference, or workshop, whatever you call it, but it's been an absolutely great time. Matt, how's it going, man?
It's been a great week and a really interesting 6 weeks since close. We closed on the 7th of July. So it's been a really fun 6 weeks.
Probably one of the most important decisions you can make in your ETA journey is which SBA lender you are going to pick. A lender who will be in your corner to get you closed on the deal, as well as set you up for future expansion. That is why we partnered with Alan Peterson from First Internet Bank. He and his team take a how can we approach, as well as I personally know they specialize in home service acquisitions. Mention the show or my handsome bald head and receive a reduced good faith deposit, as well as a detailed deal review and maybe even a buy-side pre-qualification. No strings attached. Head on over to alanfib.com. That's ALANFIB.com, or click the link below to get connected.
Damn, man. So tell us about your background. Well, first tell us the business you bought.
Yep.
So
I bought Few Refrigeration, Heating and Cooling. 75-year-old company out of Butler, PA, just north of Pittsburgh. So we serve basically the entire Pittsburgh region.
Awesome. And so a little background on you, I know, but for all the viewers, where's your background?
Yeah. So I have to plug, I did my undergraduate work at the Ohio State University, and go Bucks. And then did my MBA out in Seattle at the University of Washington, where I spent about 7.5 years at Amazon, leading various marketing teams, growth marketing for Amazon Web Services. Did the startup world for a little while at Smartsheet, was the second marketing person there. So all in the tech world and you know, running digital marketing teams and demand gen ads. I've been running demand gen, like Google ads, since you had to call Google to buy keywords over the phone.
That's cool. That's super interesting, because usually when people say they're from marketing, I roll my eyes because I think of big business marketing and how it's almost never applicable to local home service companies. But it sounds like yours was.
Yeah, like from my perspective, I've always held the belief that good marketing is transferable. Good marketing is about getting the right message in front of the right people at the right time. And the only thing that really changes is the channel and the offers that go with it. So, you know, I think in general, and I also don't come from a brand marketing background. I come from sheer performance marketing.
That's the key.
Every dollar that I spend has always had to have an ROI to it.
Yeah.
So it makes me a little bit more comfortable coming into this scenario.
That's what I'm saying, though, is like my favorites when someone's like, yeah, I was in big business marketing, brand marketing. Like I used to work for Adidas shoes doing this. So my marketing will transfer over, and it's a very hard conversation. Usually I don't have it to say, hey, you know, this is home service. There's very little of that, at least initially in the smaller businesses. Yeah. I would assume as you get bigger, yeah, there's a little bit, but.
Yeah, but no home services business outside of, say, Angie's List, Thumbtack, you know, the aggregators aren't going to be getting to the point where you're spending, you know, $20 million a year on TV. It's not the industry we're in. Yeah,
or care about the specific color of this and how your logo changes and how it makes the customer feel. I mean, there is some of that, but it's very minimal.
Yeah.
So awesome, man. So you came from Amazon, AWS is what it's called, right? People spend years and years trying to get into AWS. They try really, really hard, especially in technical sales, because it's from what I understand, it's a really good paying W-2 for a giant company that has been owning the cloud space for quite a while. Why the change?
So a number of things. So I left AWS about 3 years ago, and then was with Autodesk for a year, doing very similar work. And especially with most of those companies being on the West Coast, we moved back to Pittsburgh during COVID.
Yeah.
And all the return to office, and there's some political stuff I don't love, but really it to me is about I'm getting to a point in my life where like I want to take a swing at something big.
Yeah.
And if I get too much older, my kids are going to be a little bit too old for me to take a big risk. So it just sort of seemed like the stars aligned at this point in time that to go back to Amazon, I have to move to DC or I have to move back to Seattle. My wife says no, and I don't really want to. This is sort of me taking the swing.
I mean, the big swing is a good point, because I think that's the reason a lot of the operators who are getting into it now have realized is, hey, I can take a chance at creating generational wealth. Whereas in W-2, you still have opportunity to create vast amount of wealth, but not the same, right? In 5 years, you can build a EV of 60, 70, 80 million dollars. It's happened.
Yeah. And, I think for me, I was looking at, I can go back to work. I can work at a tech company. I still have some clients in the tech world that, I work with some startups on their go-to-market strategy. So I keep a little foot there. But, for me, it was about really building something that my kids could be a part of that, I've spent the last 20 years in the virtual world. And, I grew up picking up my first business was picking up dog poop.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was going to turn into a real business that people would actually do, and shoveling snow and cutting grass. And my dad owned a liquidation company. So I was hauling shelving into dumpsters and driving a forklift. Like I sort of like got tired of sitting in front of the computer 15 hours a day and decided like, hey, I need to put my hands back to work a little bit.
And so, okay, so you left Amazon. You started the search. How long did that search take from like kind of the moment it wasn't Amazon, you left Autodesk. Yeah. But then at some point you decided, hey, I want to go buy a business. Or did you still keep your job?
Yeah.
And then how did you actually source your first deal?
So I started consulting right away. When I left Autodesk, I had an agency that I've been working with for like 5-6 years to moonlight, pick up some other stuff.
Yeah.
As soon as I left Autodesk, they brought me on as a W-2 so I could get health insurance, but I'm effectively still a contractor. And I have my clients, they're happy. So, I can do this. And it was before I started with Autodesk. This was coming up because I have one of my clients outside of the agency is a company called Baton Market. And I've been helping them with paid ads and go to market for 3.5-4 years now. And I've become close with their founders, and Chat and Dylan have been pressing this for a long time of buying boomer businesses and buying boring businesses. And they've raised 20-something million to build their B2B selling platform. And I've been working on it. So it's like, it's been stewing.
Yeah.
And then when I left Autodesk, it just sort of happened. It was like, this is the time, we're going to go do it. So I started looking. I was browsing brokers and I found this one listed on a broker out in New York, who's turned out to be a good friend at this point. He was the seller broker, but he was a great guy. I really enjoyed working with him. He made the process. I know brokers don't always have the best reputation, but Brian made the process it didn't get done without him.
So how long was that search process though?
It took me 5 months
of actively calling brokers and
Yeah, it took about 5 months because I was very specific on what I wanted. Like it had to be in one of the trades. I didn't really care commercial or residential, but it had to be big enough that it could serve as a platform to build on top of.
Yeah.
So I didn't want 1 or 2 guys in a truck. It needed to have some history, some depth, and and so I found it.
Do you feel that you bought big enough?
That's a tough one.
So the reason I bring up this question is I get asked a lot, hey, what size should I buy? And I always say it's based on your skill set.
Yeah.
Right. And with your skill set, I mean, being able to market and do, like you heard from John today, John says, I'm still the CMO of a $40 million company. So when your marketing skill set, like the bigger, almost, I think the better, because you can drive more than a $500,000 company, where now you have to actually go learn the trade, right?
Yeah.
So where did you fall, if you feel comfortable saying that, at where the business is top line, and you feel about big enough?
Yeah, so the business is doing just over 2 million the last couple years, and it's been very stable. And so I would have liked to have gone bigger in some ways, but in other ways, I think this is a just right sort of platform.
Perfect.
It's big enough that, and it's got enough history that I'm not super worried on the day-to-day basis of the board filling up. Like, it's been around for 75 years. The board fills up because people call.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great problem to have that people just call for service, right? So I wanted that stability more than I cared about maybe the top line revenue number.
Okay. And so you find the business broker, you're going through the process. Tell us about the process. Did you how did you finance it?
Yeah. So in terms of my team, I couldn't be luckier, right? In terms of the people who I have advising me and helping me. I have a good friend, Natan, who's a partner at a investment bank. My aunt is she leads M&A for PwC in Europe.
Yeah, that's very lucky.
And then my mentor happened to be the CEO of Angie's List for 3 years or so. I think 5 years ago he retired from there. So I have a really strong team of advisors. But all that said, it's me doing the work, and it was me doing the negotiations.
Yeah. But in terms of right, so those people are great into having your corner to kind of walk you through business and strategy and things like that. But in terms of the actual doing stuff on the daily, the acquisition process takes quite a few people to get it closed.
Yeah, it was.
You have a CPA usually, due diligence firm potentially, lawyer or a lawyer firm.
Yep. So we use Denton's, Matt Clark in Pittsburgh. He's done a couple hundred home services transactions. Awesome. I think we paid a premium for them, but I think I got premium service. So,
okay.
And for this being my first one, I didn't want to.
Yeah, it's important to make sure that it went right.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a lot of trust, and like I've said, don't go with somebody who's like a real estate attorney or who doesn't know what they're doing, because this is a make or break thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is my life savings on the line.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to risk it.
Yeah,
yeah. There's a full personal guarantee.
Did you go stock sale or asset sale first?
Asset sale.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Still a lot though.
Yeah, and but the great part about this deal for me was that there's enough assets there that I was able to really de-risk it in my brain, because I paid $2 million for the business, or $2,020,000 for the business, but $700,000 of it is in real estate.
Yeah.
So I paid effectively $1.3 million for the business. That was pushing $400K EBITDA to the bottom line. So I paid a 3.1 multiple, but because I had my criteria of it had to be within driving distance of my house, it had to be of a certain size that it could basically support a salary if I needed it, and that it could sort of have some history, I didn't really have many options.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention, I don't think that that's a bad deal per se. It is a little bit high on the EBITDA for such a business like that. But did you go SBA?
Yeah.
So then you got a 25-year AM on that, right?
No, so I rolled everything into a 12-year because I got because the real estate goes in and they can stretch it out a little bit further. So everything's on a 12-year at the prime plus 2.75.
Wait, so they weren't able to get you, even though the business was, I guess, so they only could get you 12 years on that?
Yeah. This is the longest FIB would go.
Huh. Interesting. I guess, I mean, they have the calculation.
Yeah, I have a meaty SBA payment. I'm not going to lie. It's a pretty...
Well, that was my hope was that, right, if you were able to pull it out 25 years on an amortization schedule, that SBA payment is nothing. It's juicy. That's the goal. That's really the only reason you buy the real estate with it, is so that you can get the amortization down, right? That's over half.
Yeah. So for me, it was a de-risking factor to have the asset. If I screw the pooch, right? I can sell the building, rent something else. There's assets that can be turned over that made me sleep a little bit better at night, even with the SBA payment, because the business is doing well enough that it's already it's a big number, but it's not something that I'm stressing to pay.
If you're looking to buy or sell an HVAC or plumbing company, you need the best, not some generalist who just sold a Subway franchise last week, but you need the absolute GOAT of HVAC and plumbing M&A. And that's why I work with Patrick Lang at Business Modification Group. Patrick has sold more HVAC and plumbing businesses than anyone I know. He knows the buyers, he knows what the company is worth, and he knows how to get deals across the finish line. If you're an owner thinking about selling or you're a buyer looking for your next deal, Patrick is the guy to go to. You want him in your corner. He's the best. Click the link below or head on over to businessmodificationgroup.com/JQ and get on his newsletter for exclusive deals or sign up for a free deal review and see what a business is worth. Thanks. You know if you bought a bad business because you do stress to pay that. Because I personally did. And I remember the moment where I was like, oh, I'm not worried about paying this amount anymore. This feels good. It feels
I've been
good.
Hearing you guys talk about getting to there.
Yeah, like the moment that happens feels really, really good. It's like, oh, I just pay it every month. Like I'm more worried about hitting payroll because my payroll, like there was also a moment where payroll was like the debt on the business, like my overall headache. Like I could go get a job in my industry and probably make that in cash, or my savings could cover. Like there was a lot of things that I could really handle the business internally. And then there was at some point where you like round 2 million, you're like, oh my goodness, payroll's now $30,000 a month. If I can't cover that personally anymore. So it gets wild. But you have to like hit those milestones as they come. Sweet. So, I mean, how was the process? So you went with First Internet Bank.
Yep.
Did you go with Alan or did you go with...
No, I went with somebody that Baton had recommended to me.
Okay.
And I feel terrible for getting his name at the moment.
No worries. I mean, the First Internet Bank group has been really good. How was them?
Honestly, I had initially a pre-approval at Live Oak, and had really not great customer service. Like, I was trying to use them as a little bit of a sounding board, use the banker as like, hey, what do you think of this deal? What do you think of that deal? And he wasn't really giving me the kind of back and forth that I needed. And then Dylan at Baton said, hey, use our guy. And my text message chain with Jared is probably 5,000 text messages over the course of the 6 months we were working on the deal.
That's crazy service, by the way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, we had a number of hiccups that came up in the way with the seller. The seller is a great guy. Like, I can't say enough.
There's always hiccups, right? Yeah. Like you're selling a giant business. This is 75 years of history. Like there's skeletons in the closet, no matter how nice the seller is. But yeah, for anyone listening, Alan, ALANFIB.com is a sponsor of this podcast. They're a great group.
Yep.
I didn't pay him to say that. But so no issues on that end, but talk about some of the issues that you ran in through the whole process, even if it is with First Internet Bank, but I hope it's not.
No, the FIB was great the whole time. And honestly, without them and the broker, this thing didn't get done.
Yeah.
So, some of the issues were, the owner had, I'm projecting a little bit here, but he bought the business to run with his high school age son 3 years ago. And the owner had worked there for 30 years. Like he bought this business. His son was in Votech school. They were going to run it together. His son was tragically killed by a drunk driver on his way home from school a few years ago, like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the business plateaued that day. And then over the last 6 months or so, after I signed the initial LOI, revenue started going down.
Yeah.
There was clearly some lost focus, lost stuff. So I had to go back. We had to renegotiate. I initially offered 2.5. We came down to just over 2.
How'd you do that? So, cause like Chris Barr, we interview him quite a bit just cause he's going through the process right now. And he kind of ran into a similar situation where not necessarily that as he was buying, it started going down, but as they started getting into due diligence, they noticed, hey, like it's not where you said, let's retrade.
Yeah.
How did you approach that retrade conversation?
This is where the broker really was helpful. Because he and I had a rapport, like we come from the same cultural background. Like we were able to talk really, really bluntly, really quickly. And then, I didn't talk to the seller except for two on-site visits the whole time.
Wow.
So everything went through the broker. But I think in this scenario is actually a good thing because I could say to the broker, Brian, I can't pay what I offered initially when the revenue has come down by 15% over the last 4 months. Like, you know that I'm going to have to change. And he was like, I would too.
Yeah.
And
that's a good broker. He was being an advocate for his client, but being realistic at the same time.
Yeah. And I thought he played that part really well and helped smooth out what could have been contentious if it was buyer to seller directly.
Yeah, definitely. That's super interesting. And so just working with the broker. So you said the seller's a great guy, nothing bad to say about him. I don't think that's an indicator that anything was bad to say about him. But you're talking about him like he is still on with you.
Yeah.
Is he still in the business? How does that relationship?
Yeah. So he's in 8 hours or so a week right now. The first 2 weeks I was there, he was in 40 hours. He's on a consulting agreement with us as part of the post. And he's on a bit of an earnout as well. So there's a seller note that's contingent upon us getting back to the revenue number that he was at in 2023.
I love that, man. That's creative. That's good.
And so, and then another smaller seller note that's, that's just part of the deal. But I wanted him to have some investment because, I learned a couple other things through the process that, like, his little brother is my sales manager or service manager.
Yeah.
And both of them have worked at the company for well over 20 years. Right. So there was some family risk that I didn't know about.
Yeah. Like
that
he leaves and like the family doesn't know, or they do know and they leave too. There's a lot.
Yeah.
The nepotism can really be real in the smaller companies.
Yeah. And I was really afraid of that.
Yeah.
And so I did what I thought I could do to sort of keep him involved, and he knows more about this industry. He knows more about the town, than I do. So I need his help.
Well, especially too in commercial, like you guys are what, 50%, 60% commercial?
No, it's like 85%
so
commercial.
85% commercial. How much of the business is built on like relationships and contracts with, I'm guessing, maintenance managers and facility supervisors, and then owners of small businesses?
It's a lot of owners of smaller businesses. And he's got those relationships. Like my first 2 weeks, I think I went to 3 or 4 networking events with him and just shook hands of customers and people that, and I'm starting to make the phone calls. I'm delivering. We have some cooler trailers, so when, some of an ice cream shop, their stuff goes down, we haul out a trailer, plug it in, and they have a mobile walk-in. I'm delivering those so I can go meet the franchise owners, right? And doing that sort of thing to build those relationships and sort of pick up where he's had, where he left off.
That's cool. So as you kind of are going through this process, was that the only big headache you kind of ran into?
No, in April he got cold feet.
Okay.
So like
also
we were
typical.
supposed to close first week of May initially. He got some cold feet. His lawyer, I think, was the biggest issue in this whole thing. Like, I think his attorney really made things a lot more difficult than they had to be. But he got cold feet over an escrow allowance for the automobiles, right? Like, it was something like, and I said to the attorney, like, listen, my bank is saying we have to have this.
Yeah. And
I can walk away with all my money back out of my earnest money if financing falls through. Financing will fall through if you don't do what the bank has asked us here. Yeah. And that took like 3 weeks to come through that. And I thought the deal was completely dead. I even called my aunt, called Scott, and I'm like, I think this is done.
Yeah.
And then the broker called. He massaged it. He worked it. And
sounds like a good broker.
Yeah. I highly recommend Brian.
Yeah. And so, okay. I mean, some issues, those don't seem like crazy issues. I mean, really actually pretty normal.
Yeah. I think it was normal.
Yeah.
But because it was my first time and it seemed so high pressure because there's literally nothing else active in the market in Pittsburgh to buy right now.
That's the hard part when you go like hyper geo, is really finding anything.
Yeah.
Right. Versus we moved across the country to go to my business and it wasn't even a good buy. So, it's one of those things. How long from start to finish SBA? How long did that take?
The SBA stuff wasn't all that bad. I feel like SBA, and it would have gone faster without the other stuff.
Thing. Yeah.
Like FIB they would have closed it in 30, 45 days.
Yeah.
Like it ended up taking almost 6 months, but literally like I had all my stuff in and like day 15,
Mhm.
and everything else was waiting on seller documentation or something like that. They were ready to go.
Because that's what I think mine closed in 45 days. But you know, when you hear people say, "Oh, the SBA takes so long to close," it's not like the SBA itself or hopefully not the bank. It's usually like seller dragging feet, giant gap in somebody messing something up, like you ran into there.
Yeah, it was super efficient, even with the rule changes on June 1st. Like there was a little bit of stuff that we had to.
Yeah. Speaking of that, how did you manage the licensure?
So in PA you don't have to have a license. So my techs have licenses. I have a general contractor's license.
Mhm.
So there's not an HVAC specific license in PA. But if you go to Philadelphia, whatever county Philly's in, they have a specific, but we don't have one in Western PA.
That's awesome. Yeah. Tennessee is very similar. It's a good and a bad side, right? Catch-22. The good side is, hey, I can go buy a business in Tennessee and not have a HVAC license in most counties.
Right.
The bad side is you don't have to have an HVAC license in most counties. You don't deal with it as much in the commercial side. I doubt there's as many chuck and trucks, but in residential, man,
it's like 90% chuck and trucks.
Yeah.
Like we're almost the same. It's the same distribution, I think, as the residential.
That's terrible. Yeah, I mean, a tech gets an idea and just is like, I'm going to be a contractor now, and there's zero repercussions on them if they don't do a good job.
Yeah.
So fun stuff. That'll work well though with your marketing background, because as you earn that ethos and start to market and start to own the market, it'll shine through, because I think those people do get burned a lot.
Yeah, I think so. And Pittsburgh is an interesting town. Like in my research here, Pittsburgh's I think it's the largest city in America without a $50 million HVAC business.
Which is wild to me, because we have like 4. I was explaining to John's marketing guy how many $100 million companies, and I went through like 5 or 6 in Nashville, and then I get back to my desk, and I was like, oh, there's this guy, and this guy also. I was like, oh, damn it, I forgot the other 3. But there's like 6 or 8. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and you guys don't have any.
No, there's a few big ones, but they hit a plateau and sort of never broke through. Pittsburgh's a weird geography, which causes people to not like to drive and move, because there's so many bridges, and things can get pretty backed up that way. But I think it's just a great opportunity to do something big, and even if I don't do something big, I can do something well. I can do something really well that'll take care of my family,
take care of the community, take care of your family, and still have a good lifestyle. Because there's a range where you can grow something, and when you're at 2 million, you're not far.
Yeah,
like that 5 million mark, you can do a really nice lifestyle business where you optimize for, like, I'm going to take care of the people around me, I'm going to take care of my family and my techs and my customers, and then you don't need to grow. And
for me, this was a big part of, I want to grow and make a big company.
Yeah.
But one of the big things I left tech because of, I'm transitioning out of tech, is I just got exhausted by the world of 500% growth not being good enough.
Yeah.
And who's to say that having a business that has 25, 30 people, supports a family, invests in the community, why has the industry that I spent the last 20 years in said that that's not valuable anymore?
Yeah.
And it just, this makes so much more sense to me that we're supporting 2 of the local high schools. We sponsor stuff for the local high schools in the last 6 weeks. We're sponsoring a thing at there's a farm in my neighborhood that has horse rides for kids with autism. We're sponsoring a dinner there. That's what makes me feel good.
Yeah.
If you like what you heard and want more content like this, head on over to Jackquisitions.com or click the link below to sign up for the weekly newsletter.
No, and then not to mention, I mean, we treat our technicians really, really well. And so it was weird, the last year at 2025 or 2024 Christmas party, I was looking around going, there's a lot of families here. You realize, hey, I have 15 techs, 16 techs, but you don't realize, oh, I have 16 techs, 16 techs' wives, 16 techs
times 4,
their 3 kids, and it grows really quickly. And you go, wow, there's a lot of support here. This is really important that I do a good job and I take care of the people around me.
I'm doing my first company picnic on Friday or on Sunday when I get home.
Yeah.
And there's 53 people going to be there.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I mean,
sweet.
granted, one of my techs has 10 kids, so that skews it a little bit, but no, there's going to be 53 people, and
Yeah.
like that. I feel the weight of that, but I also feel like the honor of it, because those people have stuck around.
They're trusting you.
They're,
Yeah.
they're trusting me, and like I did have a couple people leave in the first 72 hours.
Happens.
But I've replaced one of them with someone I think is really honestly better. And we'll keep hiring.
Sweet, man. Is there anything that you would like to jump up on your soapbox and talk about to people who are potentially in a similar position to you that are about to buy their first business? Like, what do you just want to yell at them and say, do this or don't do this?
Get fixed pricing from your legal.
Yep.
Like, get fixed pricing from legal. I got the best lawyers money could buy, and my receipt shows it. I would work with them again.
Yeah.
But I'll sort of change the pricing model, and it wasn't even my lawyer's fault. It's the other lawyer. And that sort of takes,
Well, that's half of it, right? If one lawyer wants to redline and play games and rack up a bill, there's really not much that yours can do, but
say I'm sorry along
Yep.
the way. And they did. And that's how I sort of knew what was happening, is because, like, Matt, we're getting all these back and forth. Like, we have to take care of them. But like,
yeah, you don't want to take on this risk. So
Yeah.
we got to take care of them.
yeah, so there's that. And then, for anybody who's on the fence, right? Like, I would say this, like, I spent the last 20 years doing everything that our parents told us to do when we were kids. Go to a good college,
Yeah.
go work in tech because it's super stable, all those things.
AWS, like, I mean,
Yeah, like I did what I was supposed to do.
yeah.
But all that said, I left Amazon for a couple of months to move back to Pittsburgh, Dick's Sporting Goods. COVID hit, I got laid off. I left Amazon one more time, the final time, and I went to a project management company, and I had to lay off. I had a team of 60. I had to lay off 40 of them 5 months into that job, and I knew I was next, right? So, like, there is nothing that is guaranteed in the W-2 world, and you might as well take a risk on yourself and doing something that's for you rather than for other people.
That's a cool message, Matt. I like that. So if people want to get in touch with you, they want to talk about your journey, connect with you.
Yeah.
They're in Pittsburgh. Where do they find you?
Matt at winning-services.com is my email. Or you can find me. I follow Jack on Twitter, so you can find me at OSUMWin, I believe is my Twitter handle. Go Bucks.
Sweet, man. Well, thank you all. Like, subscribe, follow. Make sure to comment below thoughts on this episode, and stick around for the next one. Thanks, guys.